What up, YouTube? It's your boy, Call 713 Music. Man, what we got here, man? I'm gonna start off this video first by talking about Mayweather Pacquiao. Do I think this fight is gonna happen this year? I don't know, man. You know, a lot of people ask me that all the time. They be like, man, hey, you think the Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight gonna happen? You know what I tell them? I say, man, I don't know, man, but I know they got a gag order in effect. So this is what I tell all my partners, man. I tell them, hey, if you hear anything about this fight, 9 times out of 10, it's bullshit. It's a lie. It's false. Because they have a gag order. And a gag order, I mean, anybody discussing the fight could automatically throw it off, meaning that Manny Pacquiao could go publicly and say Mayweather is afraid of him, but he can't go publicly and say, he could say Mayweather don't want to fight, but that don't mean Mayweather actually doesn't want to fight. Manny Pacquiao is only the fighter. He's not the promoter. Bob Arum is Manny Pacquiao's promoter. So even Manny Pacquiao is not going to know what's happening with the fight until Bob Arum contacts him and say, look over the contract. But Bob Arum is going to get his percentage off top. So do I think it's going to happen? I don't know, man. I can't say it. I don't think Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather is for to retire within the next year. I mean, Manny Pacquiao could say this possibly is his last fight, but I don't think so. I think he's still gonna fight about 2 more fights. I think if he don't get the Mayweather fight, he's gonna probably, I would say Margarito, but at the same time, I think they really saving Cotto for Margarito. I don't think they want to really risk Margarito being punished by Manny Pacquiao or Manny Pacquiao being punished by Margarito. So I think they're going to hold off on that fight till maybe after the rematch. I think they're going to push the Cotto-Margarito rematch first, and then possibly the winner to face either the winner of Floyd Mayweather Manny Pacquiao fight, or so on and so on. I mean, it's just, I mean, they might try to keep it all within Top Rank. Who knows, Bob Arum. Also, I want to touch bases on the upcoming fight coming on this weekend on pay-per-view. John Duddy versus Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Boy, Top Rank in these pay-per-view, man. I mean, you're building up Chavez Jr. to be a pay-per-view attraction. That's what Bob Arum is doing, because he's showing it this weekend by putting Chavez Jr. on pay-per-view. I think it's mostly going to be bought in Texas. I am a Texan, and I think it's mostly going to be bought in Texas and Mexico, and possibly Ireland. I don't know how the Ireland pay-per-view works, but I know John Duddy is a huge attraction in Ireland, and the Irish, don't be shocked if your boy get screwed, because John Duddy, unfortunately, can fight. Sorry. But it's a tactic for everything. That's the reason why Bob Arum suggested to put Freddie Roach in Chavez Jr.'s corner. John Duddy is going to stick with the way he always worked. I think he changed his trainer too, but I think Chavez Jr. is really the next big thing in boxing. He's a really I have to agree with Cali Boxing. He's really a Class B fighter, but by putting the likes of Freddie Roach in his corner, it's going to transfer him to slightly a Class A fighter. But John Duddy is still a Class B fighter. I really don't see Chavez Jr. knocking out John Duddy, because John Duddy has a hell of a chin, one of the best chins I think I've seen since Antonio Margarito. I mean, his chin is amazing, man. I've seen John Duddy take, I mean, haymakers from power punching guys with like 100% knockout ratio in fights. I've seen him take their best punches, not just 1 or 2. I'm talking 100 to 200 of haymakers in one fight. I mean, 20, 30 haymakers to his face in 1 round. So I don't think Chavez Jr. possessed enough power to knock him off. I don't think Chavez Jr. possessed enough power to keep John Duddy off of him. John Duddy, he fights with his head in first, and he likes to brawl. And I think that's the reason why Bob Arum suggested to hire Freddie Roach, is because he really doesn't want Chavez Jr. to get involved with that brawling with John Duddy. And as skilled as Freddie Roach is, he's going to suggest for Chavez Jr. to not get involved in the brawling that was John Duddy. If John Duddy gets him to brawling, I don't think Chavez Jr. will be able to get the victory. But either way it goes, the only way John Duddy can take this fight is he has to really win at least 8 rounds, because he's not going to get the decision any other way. If it's a close fight, if he wins 7, Chavez win 5, or if he wins 6 and it's 6, of course Chavez Jr. is going to get that decision. So John Duddy's best bet is to dominate via unanimous decision, because like I say, I don't really care how many rounds John Duddy wins. He's not going to get the fight. And I'm not understanding, because I feel as if John Duddy had just as much leverage as Chavez Jr. to get the fight in New York or in Ireland. You know, I can't, but Chavez Jr. wasn't going to go across country to fight John Duddy. John Duddy, he's already been fighting in the States already, so I think it was just easier for him to come to San Antonio, especially if the money is right. I think he's getting about $5 million for this fight, John Duddy, so I don't think he was willing to turn it down to fight in San Antonio. I think I would have took that too, regardless. So I see Chavez Jr. winning this by a split decision. Possibly, I don't really see a stoppage, but I mean, depending on how good Freddie Roach has worked with him, I don't know. I mean, Chavez Jr. is not just that much of a puncher. I mean, he has 30 knockouts in 45 fights, so he has about, you know, a 70% knockout ratio. But I think John Duddy is one of those ones that wouldn't be in that. It wouldn't be a knockout on his career. If he could stop John Duddy, then I think he could stop anybody. Also, I just like to say that it's another bout that I see just been announced. Sergio Mora versus Sugar Shane Mosley. If nobody knows who Sergio Mora is, that's the guy that lost the unanimous decision the second time. He beat Vernon Forrest the first time, a split decision, and took Vernon Forrest's super welterweight title, only for them to rematch and for Vernon Forrest to give Sergio Mora his first loss. Sergio Mora, to me, also is a B-class fighter. Right now, Golden Boy is looking for their next big star, just as Top Rank is looking for their next big star. That's the reason why Top Rank is putting Chavez with Duddy, because if Chavez can beat Duddy with Freddie Roach in his corner, then I think that's a good team that they might want to start working from now on, because I do see Chavez Jr. as a future, you know, prospect for as a big name. I mean, he's already been on pay-per-view a lot of times. So is John Duddy. I think if John Duddy can beat Chavez Jr., I think Bob Arum is going to sign John Duddy. That's the whole purpose of him fighting in San Antonio. Right now, Bob Arum really has his eyes on John. That's the reason why he's matching him up with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. And the same with Sugar Shane Mosley and Sergio Mora. If Mora could beat Sugar Shane Mosley, then Sergio Mora would be the next big attraction. I really don't see Sergio Mora beating Shane Mosley, but it's a possibility. But we'll talk about that more in the future. But this your boy Call 713 Music signing off. I'm back. Holla at you.